WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. State troopers released the name of the woman killed in an early morning head-on crash involving a highway patrolman in Chickasaw County.
The wreck happened around 8:30 this morning on Highway 32 near County Road 409. That's in the New Holka area. A gold Ford Taurus was westbound when it collided with an eastbound Tahoe driven by a Mississippi Highway patrolman. Master Sergeant Chris Turnipseed says 72-year-old Shirley Harris of Bruce died at the scene. A passenger in the car, 72-year-old Ruth Clippard of Holka, was taken to a Tupelo hospital with critical injuries. The trooper was taken to a Calhoun City hospital with minor injuries.
The trooper was taken. He was taken by another trooper. Took him, which is part of our procedure check to be checked out. So he was taken from the scene. The trooper was the one that actually reported the crash. He called us on the radio and reported the crash.
Troopers continue to investigate that accident.
A shooting investigation involving a Webster County deputy continues tonight. Sheriff Tim Mitchell says an incident occurred this past Saturday in Webster and ended in Grenada County, but referred other questions to the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation. Attorney Carlos Moore says he has been retained by Robert Sally, who was shot during the incident. Multiple sources tell WCBI that the incident started after Sally avoided a roadblock in Webster County and later almost hit a deputy with a vehicle. That's when shots were fired in Grenada County, hitting Sally. He was reportedly wanted in Webster County. Moore plans to file a lawsuit in about a week. Mississippi Bureau of Investigation spokesman Warren Strain confirms the agency is handling the case. He could not release any details, citing an ongoing investigation.
And to a story you've been following out of Starkville, the city no longer facing a legal challenge from the group Starkville Pride. Roberta Kaplan, attorney for the group and its organizers, informed federal judge Sharon Aycock that the city does not need to respond to the motion for preliminary relief. Kaplan says there's no need for an initial hearing as long as the parade goes forward as planned on March 24th. Kaplan expects Starkville Pride to drop the motion. The group may still seek fees and costs.
Prosecutors wrap up their case today in a Clay County murder trial. A jury was selected earlier this week in Raheem Johnson's trial. Johnson and two other men are charged in the shooting death of James White. The 38-year-old man was shot multiple times on May 15, 2015 on Dixie Road near Montpelier. Defense attorneys started giving their side of the case this afternoon.
The state Supreme Court says a Clay County man will continue to serve his life without parole sentence. Joey Chandler was 17 when he was arrested for the 2005 murder of his cousin. Chandler was convicted and sentenced to life without parole. A new sentencing hearing in 2015 resulted in the same sentence. The state Supreme Court today rejected Chandler's claim that since he was a juvenile when the murder took place, he was not eligible for a life without parole, that is.
In other news, it's a crime no one really thinks about, but law enforcement say it happens more than you might think.
The crime we're talking about, utility theft. Often it doesn't end in an arrest, but as our Parker King reports, a situation in Calhoun County called police in to help. He joins us in the studio with more on that. Parker.
The thing about utility theft is companies would have to give thieves multiple chances to pay their bill before calling in law enforcement. They don't want any trouble. They simply want you to pay your bill.
Two men in Calhoun County were arrested on the same day for the same crime, theft of utilities. In their case, water. The catch is arresting someone for this crime is rare.
A lot of times, especially rural water associations, they'll work with people. I mean, a lot of times, you know, it happens more than charges actually happen because, you know, they'll go see them and, you know, and give them a good talking to.
When someone fails to pay their water bill, water associations respond at the beginning of the month.
They have usually a representative that'll go out and look and make sure that it is being stolen.
And as Charles Mahan describes, a lock is put on the water system. But sometimes people go to the extreme to break the law.
And you'll find where something's been put in, you'll find where your ear's been broke off, or possibly the lock has been cut.
If somebody goes out there and takes it upon themselves to cut that lock off, then basically they're in violation of the statute of stealing water.
The crime of stealing utilities is only a misdemeanor, but can result in jail time. In Mahan's 24 years as a water operator, he's had to file cases only a handful of times, and that's a last resort.
I would just try to go, work with them any way I could, just hoping that they would pay. A lot of times it's people I know real well, like my neighbors, people that, I live on the same road with.
As Mahan has said, he tends to work with his customers in these situations, but all of this can be avoided if everyone can just do one simple thing.
Just please pay your water bill. It makes life so much better on you, makes our job so much easier, because all we want you to do is just pay your water bill.
Again, and while jail time is a last resort for these rural utility companies, it's not out of the question. Workers want to emphasize again to pay your monthly bill.
Not a lot to ask, is it?
No, not at all.
Thanks. All
All
right.
right. Time to turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. He joins us with a first look at your forecast that maybe doesn't have a whole lot of water in it.
Now we are looking pretty good. Look at this, a pretty nice sunset in Tupelo. Wow, look at those cirrus clouds coming on in, a little bit of color on the western horizon. It's chilly out there. We've got widespread mid and upper 40s across the region, and temperatures will continue to cool as we go throughout the next couple of hours here. The wind has been gusty at times, now generally below 10 miles per hour, and that wind will gradually subside. We have a freeze warning for most of the area, low 30s and upper 20s. Later tonight, it's going to be a cold one. And as you can see right here, 40s, 30s, maybe some upper 20s. The full forecast of the weekend in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Keith. The nation's toughest abortion bill passes both houses of the Mississippi legislature, but Attorney General Jim Hood says it may be hard to defend in court. The bill bans most abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy if Governor Phil Bryant signs it, and he says he will. The new law will be the most restrictive nationwide. Hood says he expects a challenge to the legislation. Only two exemptions apply: a threat to the life of the pregnant woman or a fetus that could not survive outside the womb at full term due to a health problem. Current state law bans abortions after 20 weeks of pregnancy.
Well, it may seem hard to believe in this age of internet banking and debit cards, but the bad check unit at the district attorney's office in Lowndes County stays pretty busy.
Yeah, the unit works to help businesses in the community recoup money they've lost when a customer bounces a check. Our Jory Talley has more on the story.
The bad check unit at the district attorney's office in Lowndes County sees anywhere from 7 up to 20 bad checks a week.
These are the cases that we have presented to the grand jury in the last 7 months.
A check is bad when the person who writes it doesn't have enough money in their account to cover it, or it's written on a closed account.
One thing that we have noticed that has happened quite a bit is that people will go to gas stations and they will get gas, say $10 worth of gas, and then write the check for $30 and then get $20 cash, and then the check is bad.
Bad check unit director Kaylee Delaney says there are many businesses and convenience stores who still accept checks, even though most people tend to pull out the plastic at the cash register. Food Giant in Columbus still takes at least 10 to 12 checks a day. Cashier Cassandra Butler says the majority of those are good, but the store still deals with 3 to 4 bad checks a month.
Our machines actually don't catch it. It's just when the process of when our managers take the money with the checks to the bank, that's when we find out.
Then the store has to track down the bad check writer to let them know that they have to repay for their groceries, plus an extra $40 return check fee.
The victims will send out letters before it ever comes to our office, and then you have like 15 days to respond. If you don't respond, then it comes to our office, and that's when we will give you a certain amount of time to respond, and if no response and the check is not taken care of, then that's when we go with the legal action.
Delaney's unit presents about 6 to 10 bad checks cases to the grand jury every court term. She adds anything over $100 goes through the court process on a felony false pretense charge.
The Exchange Club of Columbus hands out hardware to the Highway Patrol. Today, the group honors Troop Kendall Wade Jones as this year's Trooper of the Year for Troop G. Jones graduated from MHP Class 61 in 2015 and has been with Troop G for 3 years. He's also been recognized as the trooper with the most felony arrests, meth seizures, and DUI felony arrests. That was last year. Jones is a Choctaw County native and patrols Webster County. He says he's honored by the award.
I guess it lets me know that I was doing my job. And I've always been a competitive one, so giving that award lets me know that, that I guess I'm one of the best in the district. To tell you a quick story about that.
Jones also serves part-time with the Starkville Fire Department. Every MHP district awards a Trooper of the Year. A statewide Trooper of the Year will be picked from that group.
An area hospital is trying to keep you, well, out of the hospital.
We'll look at how they're doing that when we come back.
You're watching WCBI News at 6 with Andrea Self and Joey Barnes.
Welcome back. Some Lowndes County students are getting a head start on life after school by doing a little early career planning. Caledonia juniors and seniors talked with representatives from area businesses and community colleges today. With the school district's soon-to-be-opened Career Tech Center and an increasing number of students taking the Work Keys test, that is, instructors at the high school are confident these students will be prepared to get into the workforce.
We have had a lot of the business leaders offer their services to mentor some of our seniors and some of our students, just to know that we're providing an opportunity for them to have a good future, have a chance at a great career and lots of opportunity. It just means so much.
The cool thing about this, several of those businesses had employees at their tables who were Caledonia graduates.
It may sound counterintuitive, but the North Mississippi Medical Center is trying to help people avoid trips to the hospital. This is National Patient Safety Week, and today NMMC held a safety fair for visitors in the hospital's main lobby. The Tupelo Fire Department, Lee County Sheriff's Department, athletic trainers, and other agencies were on hand. It's a way to educate the public about simple steps everyone can take to avoid injuries.
We hope that our visitors are able to just go out to the community and make sure that they're safe in the community. It prevents hospitalizations because we not only want to be safe in the hospital, but we want it to reach out to the community to prevent people from having to come to the hospital.
Recently, the hospital earned the nation's top distinction for patient safety with an A grade from Elite Frog Hospital Safety Grades.
A pretty nice sunset on the western horizon this evening. As we look ahead, yes, there will be a freeze likely tonight. Sunny and a little bit warmer tomorrow. Wet and stormy weather on Saturday. The full forecast is next.
Your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
All right, let's go down to the beach this weekend and forget about our problems, right? That's what a lot of you probably want to do. Well, the weather is looking pretty good on Friday. We're in the 60s, a lot of sunshine. This weekend, it will be a little bit warmer here. Biloxi, Gulf Shores, and Destin, probably more in the way of low to mid-70s, but there will be a chance for some showers and storms. In and around here, a chance for some showers and storms. Now, there's a severe weather threat here Saturday afternoon and evening. The bullseye at this point just to our west, but we could still see a few stronger storms around here Saturday evening. Still uncertain there, but we'll just see how it all plays out. Don't forget, we're programming weather radios there leading up to that Saturday afternoon at Mossy Oak and West Point, 12 to 2. So Every one of our weather radio programming events we've had so far this spring, that particular day has actually had some storms in the forecast. So are we jinxed? I don't know, but that's the way it's set up. Right now we're looking at some mainly clear conditions out there. And you can see earlier today with our Alpha Insurance time lapse from Tupelo, a lot of sunshine out there. There was a little bit of smoky haze in the air, some of those controlled burns out there today, but no major problems. A widespread freeze across the deep south tonight. And we do expect lows down into the low 30s and upper 20s around here. Those gusty winds, those will go away here now that the sun is setting. So that's the positive development, but the air is dry. Skies are clear, and that will cool us down. 38 at 8 o'clock tomorrow, 60 at noon, 66 at 4, and 57 tomorrow evening. Widespread mid-60s across our region, cooler north, a little bit warmer to the south. High pressure moves on through Friday. We are on the backside of it on Saturday, so the moisture returns, an overcast day. Showers and thunder showers during the day. Now, as that system moves through late Saturday and Saturday night, we may see a few stronger storms with it. So we will continue to update the information as we get it. Still very uncertain at this point, but there could be some locally heavy rain here Saturday, maybe 1 to 2+ inches. We just do not need any more rain. Cooler and drier again next week. There's your forecast. Sports is next after the break.
WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
The SEC men's tournament started with a bang Thursday in St. Louis. Alabama taking on Texas A&M was a roller coaster. Bama led by 12 with 13 minutes left. A&M would tie it up with just a minute to go, but the final minute would be insanity. The game would be tied at this point, but not anymore. Colin Sexton, look at that grown man take for the and one bucket right at the 1 minute mark. Bama would lead by 2, but with 4 seconds left, A&M hoists up a 3. TJ Starks, onions, gives A&M the 1-point lead with 4 seconds to go, looking to be the hero. But the hero would be wearing crimson. Look at Colin Sexton, goes right to the hole, off the opposite foot, finger roll tied as Alabama advances with the buzzer beater, defeating Texas A&M 71-70. Our Robbie Donahoe saw it live all the way, all the action in St. Louis. A big win for the Tide in terms of NCAA tournament berth, and a rivalry matchup coming up next. Robbie?
Thank you, Tom, and good evening. Back here inside of the Scott Trade Center, Mississippi State LSU underway. Inside of the arena, we'll have reaction from that game coming up tonight at 10 on WCBI Sports. But you saw the highlight. You saw the finger roll floater from Colin Sexton as Alabama all but assured themselves of a spot in the NCAA tournament. Sexton putting the Crimson Tide on his back with 27 points in that big win over Texas A&M. We got a chance to catch up with Colin Sexton and his head coach Avery Johnson on what it was like to be a part of that game winner for the Crimson Tide.
We called it a timeout. Coach just told me to race it up the floor and get to the basket. He knew how fast I can get there, so he said just get to the basket and then get a layup for us. When you're in the gym, sometimes like you just imagine stuff like that happens, and you always got to be prepared for it. And then when you're doing like cone drills and stuff, you weave through and then you try to get to the basket. So it was just like practice.
I saw a story about the kid from Ole Miss, that the little kid with the funny haircut, 3-4 years ago, that sometimes you just got to get guys the ball, and it's really no rocket science. It's no magic play. Really good players make your plays work better.
And with that win over the Aggies, Alabama then sets up a quarterfinal matchup with Auburn. Yeah, we're going to get an Iron Bowl coming up tomorrow in the quarterfinals here at the SEC tournament. It just continues to be the gift that keeps on giving the SEC tournament. We had a great finish with Missouri and Georgia as the Bulldogs were able to hang on against the Tigers, so we hope to continue these great finishes and great games here in St. Louis. Again, we will recap the Mississippi State LSU game coming up for you at 10 on WCBI Sports as the Bulldogs try to bolster their NCAA tournament profile in the hopes of making it into the big dance. For now, reporting here in St. Louis, Robbie Donahoe, WCBI Sports. Tom, let's toss it back to you in Columbus.
Thank you, Robbie. And on top of the SEC tournament, folks, bear with me. I wish I had a half hour to talk about sports today, but I simply don't. So we're going to run through some state championships down in Jackson. These are complete. Pine Grove taking on McAdams. The Lady Panthers bring home their second straight 1A girls title with a 56-34 win over McAdams. And also a big day for Okolona. The Chieftains have been a wrecking crew in the 1A boys state title, taking on back-to-back defending 1A state champs out of Ashland. Okolona rolls with an 80-59 win. Folks, stay tuned tonight. We'll have full highlights of that coming up at 9 and 10, as well as some reaction from our winners. And we can't forget about Corinth, also in action. Whole lot of sports, whole lot happening. We'll see you at 10. That's it for sports. Last look at your forecast is next.
WCBI coverage of the SEC tournament is brought to you by OCH Regional Medical Center, Advanced Medicine, Compassionate Care, and Visit Columbus, the city that has it all. WCBI sports coverage of Mississippi High School State Championships is brought to you by OCH Regional Medical Center, Advanced Medicine, Compassionate Care, and Visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
Cold again tonight, but warmer tomorrow. Some wet weather for the weekend. Cool and dry again next week. Now, we may see a few more freezes next week, too, so Mother Nature just keeps on giving.
Yeah. Find something to do Saturday that requires you to stay in the house.
That would be a good idea. Maybe a movie or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad idea. But Sunday's looking a little bit better.
Kind of showery, still on the cooler side.
You'll be sleepy Sunday because
you're losing that hour of sleep.
Yep.
Forget about Sunday now.
That's right. Thanks for joining us, everybody.